welcome to a very special
spooky
Week 9 episode of the Windy City Fantasy Football Show.
Yes. We have a few spooky things in store for you, as well as a wonderful slideshow at the end. Everybody's fantastic Halloween. So, but how we always start our show off is with a recap of last week. So, how did last week go for everybody? Rick took down Brown Bear. Sue was defeated by Delaney. Carson beat Emily. And then a few interesting matchups. Lindsay won in her couple bowl. She took down Austin. Sam beat Michaela. That was a tough loss. Michaela had 166.7 points, which is more than everybody else. And she still lost because she came up against the beast that is Sam and his 179.6 points. So that was a bit of a tough loss for her. And last, and definitely least,
I won.
My 5-game win streak has been snapped.
I won.
By a lot.
I won.
Yeah.
55 points. I won. We're not happy.
We're not happy about it. But overall, the standings have stayed the same. So, the standings, because there was a game gap in there, have not changed.
We did something a couple weeks back, and we're going to revisit it.
This time I picked them, and we'll see where we think, what you think, or what we want to say about it. So, I went in reverse order. So, first to talk about is Brown Bear. Brown Bear, your spirit team at week 3 was the Browns with their record of 1-1. And your spirit team now is the Browns with their record of 2-6. I really feel like it's unchanged. You're still a Brown and Bear loving, Green Bay hating, slightly underperforming team. Does that sound right?
If that's slightly, I'm very concerned.
Emily, also at 2-6. She was the Jaguars at 1-1, I think, at the time. And now I think she's Denver at 2-6. Still kind of maybe a little bit stuck in the past, not adjusting as well to, I don't know. That was my logic for it. Any thoughts?
That seems good.
Sue. Sue was the Saints before. And unfortunately for Sue, the Saints have continued rolling upwards, and she hasn't as much. So she is the LA Chargers. She's, got a quarterback she really believes in. She's going down the train. She's had a few calls not go her way. But overall, fairly solid team. It just doesn't always come together.
That seems about right.
Okay. Carson. Carson was the 1-1 Falcons at the time. the Falcons still have 1 win, but Carson has 3. So Carson has moved from a Falcon to a Cardinal. Now the Cardinals are technically 3. This is being filmed on Saturday, so they are technically 3-5-1 right now. But much like the Cardinals, one of their tie really could have been a win or a loss. It really could have gone either way. That was versus Detroit in week 1. And he's really also, on that same note, had some games that could have gone either way. I think at least 1 or 2 of his losses have been, by like less than 5 points. So I would say Carson is a Cardinal.
Well, there you go.
Am I doing okay so far?
It's fine, sure.
Okay. Austin. Austin is next. Austin is the second one that I think is going to stay the same. He was the Steelers then, and he is the Steelers now. They are both 3-5. Or he might be 3-5. They're 3-4 because of the bye weeks. Some of these don't exactly line up. But so he's had a formula that's worked for him for a long time, which was like the Rulio connection, and so he's had something that's worked for a long time. He's having to adjust to some new things, and some of the new things aren't always so great. And then sometimes even those new things have problems. So Austin was the Steelers then, and he's the Steelers now. I think that pretty much stayed the same. Michaela. She was the Tennessee Titans. But they they have 1 more win than she does. But I think Michaela, especially after this last week, like, her team can either do really, really well, or they can kind of forget to show up to the game. So they really haven't been as consistent, which is why she's at 3-5, much like the Raiders. All right, so we have 2 middle-of-the-road 4-4 teams. The first one is Rick. He was originally the Ravens, and the Ravens have continued upwards. So I actually have Rick being the Titans now. He's willing to bench some players to try new things. He's willing to switch things up. Some things are working, some things aren't. So Rick is new and mixing things up, but having to go back to some oldies but goodies at the same time. He's the Tennessee Titans. You are 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you were the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers have a better record than you do right now, so you could not remain the same.
Nah.
So I thought long and hard about it, and I did. Thought long and hard about it, and you are the Eagles. Who you play this week.
Nah.
You have really had some interesting games. Like this week. Or last week. When they went to Buffalo and just destroyed everybody. He destroyed me. So that was part of my logic. And second of all, they've just kind of been middle of the road. Like, they got beat by teams they probably shouldn't get beaten by. For instance, the Falcons' 1 win is over the Eagles. So, but they've also showed up and showed out to some games, like last week with the Buffalo Bills. So, you are the Eagles. Me, I'm next. I was the 0-2 New York Giants before. It's a little bit sad. A lot of it sad. But then, my season turned around, and I went on a 5-game winning streak. I'm mainly relying on the strength of my quarterback and a couple of wide receivers. My spirit team is the Texans.
Houston.
Texans. I think that was a pretty good pick for me. They are also 5-3. Lindsay just moved up in the division. she was the LA Rams, and she's now the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams have trended a little bit downwards, and the Seahawks have trended a little bit upwards. She's got her good old faithful quarterback. The Seahawks have Russell Wilson. They're actually making the division that they're in look really, really good. And Lindsay is the Seattle Seahawks. Delaney is our last team that stayed the same. Delaney was the Buffalo Bills before, and she's the Buffalo Bills now. They have been showing up, showing out, and it's really just too bad that they're in the same division as the Patriots. Their defense is solid. They're going for it with their young QB Kyle Allen, and isn't that his name?
Josh Allen.
Anyway, and Delaney has been showing out. I mean, this is her first year, and she is tied for second place. And she's half of what would really be considered the power couple here in Sam and Delaney. They have the most points of everybody by far. So she is the Buffalo Bills. So we had 3 that stayed the same, I thought. Jamison, Austin, and Delaney. So it's not too bad.
Again, your definition of not too bad is a little concerning, but all right.
This is me trying to take over this segment. Last, and certainly not least, because he's first, is Samuel. Samuel was 2-0 at the time. He's now 7-1. He was the Kansas City Chiefs, but they've hit the skids just a little bit, and Sam has not. So Sam also had drafted a quarterback that then retired, and he had to change streams. But he kept right on rolling with the punches. He is the 7-1 Saints. They had to roll without Drew Brees for a while. Didn't matter. They just kept right on winning. So, Sam, you are the 7-1 Saints, winning my NFC division. So there's the update on the Spirit teams for Spirit weekend of Halloween.
Not bad. Not bad. That's actually a very good job.
Thank you.
You might have a future in this.
All right. We do have a few injuries, booms, busts, and big outs to look out on. So these are players that are questionable or doubtful and out. Most of these actually are probably doubtful and out, but 1 or 2 are maybe questionables. T.Y. Hilton is out, and Will Fuller is out for Lindsay. Devontae Adams is questionable for Delaney, but she does have him on our bench, so she's good there. Thielen may or may not play this week for the Vikings for me. I really need him to play. I don't have a lot of other options. Dede Westbrook, Curtis Samuel, and Deshaun Jackson for you. All of them are questionable. I think Dede Westbrook might even be out. Chris Thompson for Rick is out. Delaney Walker and Julian Edelman for Austin. I think Julian Edelman really will play, but he's still listed as questionable at this time. David Johnson, Patty Mahomes, and Marcus Hollywood Brown are for Carson. David Johnson obviously did not play. What's the status of Mahomes? Is he going to play?
Mahomes is not going to play.
He's not? Okay. And then Hollywood Brown is questionable as well. And then Emily has O.J. Howard, who is not going to play, and James Conner, who is most likely not going to play. Usually I would save this for next week, but the Niners-Cardinals game actually had 2 really awesome booms that I wanted to mention. Carson had Kenyon Drake, who just got traded to them, and he scored 31.2 points. So he is happy to be out of Miami. And then Sanders for Delaney had 20. So Kenyon Drake had 31.2 points, and Emmanuel Sanders had 27.2 for Delaney. So those were some booms from the game that's already been played. But I just thought I'd mention it since that's when we're recording this. So. Last and not least, after listening to the sound of my voice for 20 minutes, are this week's matchups.
For week 9, we've got Emily taking on Michaela. Carson's going up against Sue. The brothers are going at Sam against Austin. Delaney's taking on Rick. Lindsay and me are going to match up, and then Jen is taking on Jameson. Who do you think's going to win?
Currently, Jameson is projected to win, but I have an empty spot on my bench. I haven't decided if I'm going to play Sammy Watkins or take my chances on that other Philadelphia receiver that I picked up. I'll decide.
How about the rest of the games?
Oh. So I'm really torn about Lindsay and you because I want you to lose just on principle because of last week.
That's very supportive.
But if you beat Lindsay and I win, then she and I would be tied for the record. So I'm probably going to have to root for you for the long-term game.
So glad that you're happy about that.
I think that Delaney and Sam are going to kill Rick and Austin. I think Carson and Sue is going to be a very close game, and it could go either way. And I think Michaela will beat Emily.
Okay.
So that is my expert prediction. So, well, that's all we have for you today. But please enjoy this spooky Halloween slideshow as we say thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
It's post-Halloween pocket candy.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
I think you can sense a theme here so far with the interviews. We tend to do them in places where people eat. So we were able to catch up with another one of our owners recently. She's doing.
Oh, here we go.
Well, then I guess we're gonna have to take this on the road a little bit. Okay, Sue.
Yes, man.
This is our second shot at this because apparently I didn't hit the record button.
Okay, well, I'm glad somebody else does that.
Yeah. So just to make up on our error from last time, you're sitting at 3-3, so am I.
And that's kind of...
Yeah. We've still got a lot of football left, so all we need is for Sam and Delaney to forget about their teams while they're on vacation, and things should start turning around. But so if you picked another sport to do fantasy sports with the family, what would you decide on, you think?
Well, those seasons are so long that I probably would know more players with baseball than hockey or basketball.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
So I would probably say baseball, but I'd probably lose interest halfway through the season. Or get discouraged.
Well, the nice thing with baseball is you kind of can set it and forget it, just because there's so many players that play, back to back and all that other stuff. But
Now, would you be like a Jameson and just draft all Cubs?
No. No.
shots fired.
Did I mention that I don't like the Packers?
Not at all. So which, since fantasy football is all about disappointment
Yes.
and frustration,
Very frustrating.
yeah,
Now,
which player are you just completely frustrated with on your team?
Well, I had really high hopes for my little rookie guy from Oakland.
Okay.
And he has not transpired like Saquon Barkley did for me last year. But, so, I'm not disappointed with him, but I was having higher hopes for him. So.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is the running back from Oakland who they got with, I think they used the Bears pick that they got from us for Khalil Mack to get him. So,
But I have to say, I was very leery about playing him yet last week with the Bears, and he scored his highest points against the Bears in London. So,
hence why fantasy football is very frustrating.
Exactly.
Just when you think you know what's going on,
Yes.
somebody decides to have fun in London and not show up for the game.
And they said they were all jet lagged, which I can kind of relate. They didn't get over there as early as Oakland.
They're all making excuses at this point.
Just so long as they win this week.
Yes, indeed. The Saints. They're playing the Aints without Kamara or Breeze.
But Breeze, and I need my quarterback back.
Yeah, that would help. That was a really tough loss. So you had a pretty big loss right early on in the season because Drew Brees hurt his thumb.
Yes.
He hasn't been able to play. So
You see that attitude?
if you had a chance to maybe kind of take another player, or if there's a player on your roster that you were thinking, maybe I would have done something different, what do you think you maybe would have changed?
I probably,
Are you gonna have some apple juice?
well, I probably would have went for a quarterback earlier than what I maybe a different quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterbacks went early. Quarterbacks went very early in our draft.
And Jen got the quarterback that I was eyeing, but she got him before me. But that's the way it goes. isn't it?
Well, I'm stuck with Jameis Winston and that mustachioed wonder in Jacksonville.
Well,
Hey, don't start
He
with
was-
the mustachioed wonder. It was
He
supposed
was
to be on
running
my
out
team.
with me.
Hey, I did mention trade, you know.
Jameson has a problem with the waiver
I'll
wire.
trade you Trubisky for the mustache. Oh, there you go.
That's hey, you know what? I might consider it. Because my other option is Jameis Winston, and I'm not really sure that's wise. So, hey, this is not your interview anymore. You're done.
Thank you.
All right. Well, one last softball question. We won't make this very tough. But what do you think? What do you think the Bears are going to do at the end of the season? How do you think they're going to finish up?
Well, I don't like their standing right now because they're at the bottom. I'm having high hopes. I think they'll finish strong. So I'm going to be positive.
There you go. That's a
And
good
they're
way
going to
look at
make it into the playoffs, and we'll see.
Yes. We'll see.
Keep my fingers crossed.
Trubisky they'll swap bodies with him with an alien or
Perfect
something.
timing. Here's
Perfect
our
timing.
food.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Sue.